Welcome back, everybody. This is Tyler Weeb from Pro Physique, and today we're going to talk about how to figure out your starting macros. All right, so today, how to find out what your starting macros are. So, other than getting into the gym consistently with the focus on progressive overload, this is probably one of the most important things that you need to figure out that is going to really help you start your journey and is going to be something that's always going to be there. So this is very important, and I just want to be able to pass it on. How do I do this? Like, how do I go about figuring out how much I should eat? Right? Because that's going to be very individualistic for each person. Right? So that's why cookie cutter diet plans, cookie cutter meal plans are just not good. They're not optimal because they don't take into consideration the individual. They just give you a set amount of calories or set types of food to eat, and then that's it for every single person. Like, a lot of these coaches will just throw out, hundreds of diet plans, and they're all the exact same for hundreds of people with completely different macronutrient needs and completely different metabolisms, right? So, some people might put on weight with just an addition of 3 grams of carbs a week. Or someone might stay steady if you give them 10 grams of carbs and 2 grams of fat each week, right? It's completely different for each single person. So to be able to figure these out for yourself is huge and will help you out so much in whatever goals that you might have. And then we'll kind of go over how to add and how to take away macros depending on what your goal is. So this video is for if you've never really tracked before and you just have really no idea how much you are intaking. So usually what I have someone do that comes to me like this, and they don't know how much they're eating, is I tell them to first download an app that can help you track your food. So My Macros Plus is a favorite of mine. That's the one I use, but there's MyFitnessPal, there's My Net Diary, and there's so many else out there. I recommend getting one on your phone so it's very easy to go from the scale and go into the app, right? You don't have to go back and forth in between your computer. So that is what I recommend, and especially as well as, if you're out and about going out to dinner or something, it's very easy just to quick plug into your phone. 2, get a scale, all right? This is going to be your best friend for this. You need to weigh out your food. So get a scale. There's, go to Walmart. There's some for $20, $30. You don't really need anything super fancy. You just need something that's going to be able to tear and weigh your food, okay? And then what I do is I have them track for 5 to 7 days of what they're consuming. And an important thing is try not to change any of your habits, all right? So I don't want them to automatically, now that they have a coach, is go to a different eating pattern, because what we want is a very accurate representation of how much they have been consuming. All right. So that's what I tell them, is try not to change any habits. If you have that, regular Coke at night, every night, leave it in there. Okay. Because I need to know how much you have been consuming. So 5 days, 7 days, right in there, track. All right. Put it all into that app. It's going to take a little bit. This is a skill. So at first it will take kind of more time than it will later. That's okay. All right. It's going to get quicker. It's going to get a lot easier once you kind of get the hang of it. So they will track for their 5-7 days, not changing any of their habits. And what I have them do then is send me the breakdown of each day. So what I want to see is how much protein do you consume each day, how much carbs do you consume each day, and how many fats do you consume each day, broken down over the 5 or 7 days. All right, so I'll have protein for every day, I'll have carbs for every day, and then I'll have fats for every day. So from there, I take those numbers, I got a nice little Excel sheet, plug them in, and I take the average of those numbers. All right, and then so what I'll do is, depending on where I'll look at their protein first. So depending on where their protein is, and it's typically lower than it should be. A lot of people just do not consume as much protein as they need to help stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So that's what I'll look at first. So if we are not at least 0.8 grams per pound, I will automatically bump up their protein so we can at least hit that. Obviously, depending on their macros, that is a little subjective. We might go to 1, but I like to at least get to 0.8. All right, so we'll set protein first. Then what I'll do is I will go to fats. So we want to make sure that fats are going to be at least 15% of total calories. So why 15%? Well, if our calorie or our fats start to get lower than 15%, we start to see a lot of health defects, I guess, for the lack of a better word. So we start seeing hormone levels start to suffer, things like that, and that's not something that we really want to get to. So we make sure at least we're around 15 or above 15% for our fats. Now, a lot of people do tend to consume a lot of fats, so that is usually not an issue. All right, so we set that number. Now we go to our carbs, which is, the most easily changeable throughout everything. They're not necessary to live, actually. So we can really play with those depending on that person's goal. So what you do have to keep in mind is, because we set our protein first, if we have added calories to our protein, we need to make sure that we are taking those calories out of somewhere else. So that's usually where I'll take the majority of it from carbs, depending on their carb intake. All right. So if they have been, if we had to bump up the protein by 25 grams, I will take out 25 grams of carbs at least. All right. And we can do a little bit of it with fats as well, as long as we are, a decently amount above that 15%. But this typically is where I will take their calories and put them into protein, is from carbs. So then we just set carbs right there. All right. So now we've kind of set up our protein, right? We're getting that at least 0.8 grams per pound. So we are getting muscle protein synthesis. We have our fats above 15%. We actually maybe have some room to play with, depending on if they are dieting. And then we have our carbs, which is just our energy for the gym, fun food, stuff like that. So now that we have set then what I like to do is just hit these for a week, right? Get consistent, get, good at tracking, get good at hitting these numbers, learn the skill a little bit. And, I find a lot of the times that just because we're starting to give the body consistency, we actually tend to maybe drop a pound or two that first week. All right. I like to let the body adjust to just being normal or consistent for once. A lot of people just, it's very up and down. Sometimes I'll see, 300 grams of carbs one day, 150 grams of carbs the next day, or, same thing with fats. People can be very up and down with how much they eat per day. And so I just find that consistency with the body, it just really allows to adjust and to kind of get stable. And so depending on how the body reacts, I'll usually go a week or two just with those macros right there. So now that we have gotten there, what do we do depending on the goal? So if we are reverse dieting, and this is typically if our calories are a bit lower, or, we just want to put on some muscle, stuff like that, I will start adding calories in as long as the body weight stays stable or even drops a little bit during a reverse diet, because we're actually giving it the nutrients it needs. And that also depends how much I add depends on the person. With some people, I can add 10 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fat each week, and they will drop weight or stay stable. Some, it's only 5 grams of carbs and we stay stable. So you are going to have to kind of figure that out on your own. So what I recommend doing is tracking your weight once a week. All right, so pick a day. Try and keep it the exact same day, because we want that good consistency. Weigh yourself first thing in the morning after you've peed with minimal clothing on, and track that. All right. If the weight has stayed stable, feel free to add in calories. I like a slow approach, 5 grams here, 10 grams there. Maybe you just do just fats that week, because the goal of a reverse is to build muscle with minimal fat gain, okay? So that's for a reverse, quite easy. So now with a dieting phase, this can be a little bit different depending on how much cardio they have been doing, how much food they have, and stuff like that. Dieting history can play a role into it as well. So if we are dieting, again, I let them kind of stabilize. And then what we'll do is, depending on how their body reacts, we will either take calories out or add cardio in, or both. So typically, I like to start off with around a 400 to 500 calorie drop, and I'll take those out of carbs and fats. All right. So we'll do that first if that's a dieting, if they are entering a dieting phase, and then from there, again, week to week, track your weight. If you are losing weight with the amount of calories that you are eating and the amount of cardio you're doing, there really is no need to change anything, right? Because your body is losing body fat on what you're already doing. So why would we need to, change anything, right? So once we've kind of hit a plateau, there's obviously a lot of options that we can do, but typically what you are going to see is we're going to see another drop in calories, maybe 300 here, 200 there, or, we can increase cardio, so we can add an extra 10 minutes to each cardio session of steady state, or if they are doing HIIT, we can add in a few more sprints, or we can even do both, right? We can decrease calories while increasing the amount of work that they're doing in their gym sessions. So there's a lot to play with, but typically what you are going to see is a drop in calories and an increase in cardio. Do not go crazy, right? We don't want to slash calories by 600 every single time that we plateau, because you're going to soon find yourself without any calories left very quickly. And that is not what we want. We want to diet on as many calories as possible and on as little cardio as possible. That's always going to be the goal. All right. So that's everything today. So if you just don't know how much you're eating and it's something that you want to start doing, it's something you want to start tracking, take the advice here in this video and go try it out. All right. Again, it's going to be hard at first, but it will get easier with time and practice and consistency. Consistency is going to be your best friend. All right, guys, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that. Leave comments, ask questions. If you have any questions about tracking or whatever, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, have a fantastic Tuesday. We'll talk soon.